Hey everyone, hope you are all doing well. I started learning Korean language last year through Google, and how I started was that I just searched for ways how to start learning Korean language because I did not have a single idea of what to do. Like, this is how roughly I had started learning Korean language. But then, after searching for information, I found the alphabetical script of Korean language called Hangul, and I started learning it through alphabets. But obviously, I have never been to Korea. I have not been listening or speaking Korean language like natives. So I could try and learn the sounds of alphabets, but obviously, I could not master the sounds. Mm, to be more specific, I could not even clear the concepts about the sounds of a few alphabets, especially those alphabets that give the same sound. Like, for example, in our Urdu language, we have some alphabets that give totally same sound, but we can differentiate between them. Why? Because we have been speaking this language. But as for a language that was totally new to me, it was not easier to differentiate between those alphabets. You can understand what I am trying to say if you have been learning Korean alphabets before. So I know how hard and challenging it can be to start learning a new language all by yourself. So I have a few tips for you guys here. As myself am an Urdu speaker, I have noticed that learning Korean language by comparing it to Urdu can be a lot more easier for you guys instead of learning it by comparing it to English language. Like, if you are from Pakistan and you are an Urdu speaker, you know that you have been learning English language in your schools by comparing the English language and Urdu language. But there always have been a gap between Urdu and English language, and that is because of the difference between the basic sentence structure that is used in English language and in Urdu language. For example, you notice this sentence, and you may seem to know that this sentence falls on the sentence structure of English, that is subject plus verb and then comes the object. But when we translate this sentence into Urdu, this sentence falls on a different order, and that order is the subject comes first and then object and then verb. But the great thing about Korean language is it has the very same sentence structure as Urdu. Like, there can be a few different points when we are forming the sentence, but the order of the sentence is very similar to the Urdu. For example, if we translate the above sentence into Korean, you will see that it falls on the very same order as the one in Urdu language. And moreover, there are a lot of more similarities between Korean and Urdu language in pronunciation, and you will notice these things later when you proceed to learn the Korean language. And I want you guys to know that learning a new language can be very tougher than you did expect it to be, because sometimes you will have a confusion about something and you cannot find the exact answer to satisfy your mind, and you cannot move on to the other topic without clearing that confusion either. But I think you just need to stay consistent and not give up. If you are an Urdu speaker, you have a better chance to improve your Korean pronunciation skills, because you will notice that English speakers cannot make a few specific sounds of Korean language, because there are languages that do not have specific sounds in their alphabets. Like, you might have noticed that the Arabic language does not have the P sound. So the native Arabic speakers cannot pronounce the word Pepsi. They speak it as Pepsi. So this is because their alphabetical script does not have the P sound. Similarly, English language does not have a few sounds either. For example, if you see this word and the pronunciation that comes to your mind is daraz, right? But if you forget that this is an Urdu word and you totally see this as an original English word, you will see that this will not be pronounced as daraz, then this will rather give the D sound like daraz. But why? Because in D in English language does not give the sound, it gives the sound, right? Uh, but I don't know if you have noticed this before or not. English does have the sound, right? The th sound in the, right? It does have the sound, but just to make the word Draj spell very accurately to pronounce Daraz, we can do not write it as the th Daraz, right? Because we know that we can speak the word the and the too, because we have these alphabets in our alphabetical script of Urdu. That's why we can very easily and conveniently give the and the sound through the single alphabet D. But English speakers cannot give the sound of the using the D alphabet. So, what I want to say is, even if you are more convenient with learning things through English, when you are learning Korean language, or more specifically, when you are learning the pronunciation of Korean language, or you are trying to read the Korean language, you should try and compare the sounds of Korean alphabets with the alphabets of Urdu, because there are a few Korean alphabet whose sound is not available in the alphabets of English language. For example, we have a Korean alphabet PF, and it gives the sound of PH, but this is not the same PH of English, because the PH of English gives the F sound, right? Like in philosophy or in Philip. But instead, the ph sound that is given by pip is the sound that is formed by the consonant assimilation of pe and he in Urdu language, that gives the p sound that is used in words like phal or pool, right? That is the exact sound of the alphabet pip. Like, it can be used in the words pear, that is the translation of pen. So there are a lot of more examples like this, and I want you guys to try this technique. It will be a lot easier for you. When I started learning Korean language, I did not know these points either, and I did have a lot of problems too, because I did not have any tutor nor anyone I could ask questions to. I totally started it through Google and YouTube videos, and I have not studied Korean language fully too, because I am a student myself, and I just do it as a hobby, and I give a little time to Korean language. Uh, and I will try my best to make things a bit easier for you guys up till the topics that I have studied. And I obviously check my videos through all the means I have to provide you guys with the most accurate information. But if any one of you finds any mistake in my videos, I will be the happiest to know them. So please contact me through my email or Instagram or comment section. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz.